Ready there?
Yep, we are live.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. As you know, our voices try to inform. We do inform and transform. Um, so we want you to definitely interact with us and become a part of our voices. We want to hear your opinion. We want to hear from you and anybody else that you might know that might want to call in and talk to us about the issues that we address. And if you think there's uh, something that we addressed that you think that we didn't address or you think we should address, give us a call or just hit us up on Facebook. Or you can call us at the number above my head, 850-2063-776, and we will definitely get with you, or we'll have you on the air with your opinion. But we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who is the chair of the Escambia County Democrat Party. We have Miss Jill Daggs. I got to get Jill Scott out of my head. Jill Daggs, who is also with the Democratic Party in Okaloosa County. And Mr. Vernon Watson, who is the owner of WBQP TV, where you'll be watching this show along with Fire Stick, Roku, and YouTube, or you can watch it on right here on my Facebook page. And if you want know somebody that want to watch the show, they can go to Facebook/Jerry.18, no, .Macintosh.18. And we will definitely make sure you are on. Or you can just go to our website, the Macintosh Principle, www.themacintoshprinciple.com, and click on Facebook, and we'll see you then. And Vernon, tell them how to go to the download your television station. I've been doing it all day, but I want you to tell.
There are many ways they can get us, Jerry. If you got television, over there television, you get us on channel 12.1. If you got Roku, you can get us on the Roku channel. If you got Fire Stick, you can look it up on Fire Stick. If you got a cell phone or a tablet, the likes, you can download the app. Go to your Play Store, your Google, your iOS Play Store, or any of those, and just look up WBQP TV and download the app. You can get us there. Also, if that doesn't work for you, go on your computer and go to the WBQP TV website. You can get us there as well. And then if you don't find us all of that, just Google any internet TV site, and we own several internet TV sites as well. So, broadcasting around the world.
Of course, I was talking to different people in Selma today, and I was telling them how to get the shows, and definitely want them to be watching this. Quite a few people said they downloaded it while I was there, because I wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity to watch the show tonight. And many of them said they were going to watch the show tonight. I showed some of them last night as well at the banquet, how to get to the show. Uh, forget Christina and Bill is on the bus returning from Selma. I came back early, so we want to make sure that we don't forget them, Christine Forrest and Bill Snow, who was on the bus returning from Selma, Alabama tonight, along with others that's on that bus with them. I know they are watching the show on the bus because they just called and said so. so, so I know they're going to be calling in to give their opinion on what took place there in Selma. I know they got a chance to see Kamala Harris, who is one of our greatest leaders, who is the vice president of this country and who could possibly be the president of this country, even no matter what take place. Hopefully, she's the standard bearer. No, even if she stays president for the vice president for the next 4 years, she should be the standard bearer to be the Democrat nominee in the future.
20, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I want to say that Move for Change is having its banquet June 21st here in Pensacola at the Improv. Of course, it starts at 6 o'clock that evening. We have a great poet, Kyla Janae Lacey, who is also a history major, who will be speaking at our banquet this year. So we definitely want you to get your tickets early, as soon as the next day, if possible. So we definitely want you to be a part of it. But we know we're going to have a great banquet. It was sold out last year. We had a great Derek and Jill was there, and Byrne was there. So, and definitely gonna have Derek talking about the upcoming election this year. So definitely want to, because this is so important. And the theme of our right now is democracy versus dictatorship or autocratic governments. So we're gonna talk about, that's gonna be the theme of our banquet this year. So we definitely need to talk about whether we're gonna be a democracy or a dictatorship.
Yeah, what was the date again?
June 21st.
June 21st, okay.
June 21st at the Improv on Pace Boulevard. I think a lot of people know where it is now. I don't have it. I think I got the address here. But anyway, I'll give you that address later. But it's going to be at 6 o'clock on the 21st of June. Just want to throw my 2 cents in on the Selma, the bridge, Bloody Sunday. They naming it the 59th annual Jubilee, Bridge Crossing Jubilee. I still believe we ought to be calling it Bloody Sunday and Edmund Pettus Bridge. What took place, I think we are making it too soft when we call it the Jubilee, but that's just me. So, but the Freedom Flame award banquet was really nice last night. It was so many young people was getting awarded, but you had Carlos. Oh, let me get this. Mr. Bill Snow. Hold on a minute, Mr. Snow.
No. Finish your thoughts on Bloody Sunday, and then just pull me in after.
Okay. I was just gonna say the Freedom Flame award banquet last night. They awarded it to a lot of young people. There was a lot of young people there that was involved, and I hadn't seen that before. Usually it's mostly elders that was involved. You saw some young people, but it was a whole bunch of young people last night, and I tried to get put out as much information as I could last night, but it was an awesome sight to see all of the young people involved and engaged and discussing the issues. They were not talking about Donald Trump like the media is portraying that these young black men were talking about. We don't want to be under dictatorship, and they were discussing these issues as if like most real adults do, but they were really, really sharp in their thinking. Now, the guy Carlos, the one that I know y'all seen the people, the brothers who won the Olympics in '68, they held their fists up. They were there. Both of them was there last night. I got their name somewhere here. But anyway, they were there last night, and they were excellent speakers. Both of them, their name John Carlos and Dr. Tommy Smith. Both of them was there last night, and they talked about the struggles that they had trying to after they did the power sign back then, and all of the ramification of that was they were blocked from jobs and everything else, and so it was a lot going on back then. Jill, you had something. You were gonna say something.
I really, and then you can give it to Bill, and I hope I'm not taking this from you, Bill. But I do want to say that today is Christina Forrest's birthday, who is one of our hosts, and she is not with us. So we want the entire viewing audience to wish Miss Christina Forrest an absolutely fabulous birthday. She also made it possible for several people to go to Selma, and I will send it over to Bill because he's actually on the bus and got to experience that wonderful day with our hosts and her birthday. And so, Bill, it's all yours.
And thank you so much, Jill. I greatly appreciate that. I want to open up by saying I'm sitting right behind Christina, and they sung happy birthday. I'm all the way at the back of the bus, but they sung happy birthday to her early this morning. But my hat is off to her for putting this thing together. This is my first year doing the Selma Bridge, and man, I'm humble. I am truly humble. It was, oh man, from the time we got there, we went to First Baptist Church, the sign, the marquee said, a chair is still a chair. So I knew this was going to be a great visit, referencing the Montgomery little scuffle they had out there with the chair. But the word was good. Preacher preached on a work in progress, basically saying that we still have work to do. The vendors, the diversity of the crowd, I was truly taken aback with. I just had no idea that so many people of different races would be showing up at a Bloody Sunday event. And I also noticed a lot of the state troopers and lawmen were men of color, women of color. I would say 75% of them were. So I was taken aback by that as well. But the street vendor, that was a vibe in the air, a unity, a one love, a serious sense of community. For this event to represent such a tragic time in American history, there was a serious pride in the air, and to physically walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge after Kamala Harris did. I mean, I was telling the bus as we did a roundtable, a debriefing as we got back on the bus, that I understand for the first time the fear of a second Biden Harris ticket. When I looked at that big screen as our sister walked off of that platform with the hair bouncing, the confidence, after speaking so brilliantly, there was a sense of true pride. And I told the roundtable here that I finally understand why this ticket is such a threat. There is a pride that this vice president walked with and spoke with that reminded us of the Obama days and all the pride and confidence that he walked and spoke with. So this was my first experience of Bloody Sunday, but if good Lord keeps me around, I guarantee you it will not be my last. I'm just settled. I'm just so glad. It's amazing to me that it took me this long. Every year, Jerry and them came back, and I saw the pictures on the book. Oh, Lord, I missed again. But last year, I put it on my calendar. I would not be left out this year, and I am so glad that I was. I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but I want to say you are on point, Mr. McIntosh. I've been telling the show and the panel for months that the media would lead you to believe that this is a hands down, Trump win, especially when it comes to the young people. But I stand flat-footed and say that that is a lie from the pit. I believe a lot of our young people are talking off the wall, but for the most part, I was also taken aback by as many young people that we saw here today. It blew my mind that so many people that weren't even alive during Bloody Sunday, how they were out in the slogans, the shirts. John Lewis, big poster man. Christina gave me hers when it didn't look like I was going to be able to get one, but I later got one. But it was just a magic in the air, something that's indescribable. If you have never had the opportunity to get to Bloody Sunday, I'm telling you, mark your calendars. You're missing out on a serious treat. This is one of the largest civil rights events annually held in our country, and I'm so glad to finally have been a part of it. Thank you guys so much.
You still can be on there. you and Christina both can still jump in on the phone as a matter.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, just want to say that what led to the march from Selma to Montgomery was the killing of Jimmy Lee Jackson, which I think we talked about it last week, Vernon, that Jimmy Lee Jackson. But before that, it was another guy. His name was Orange that was being beaten, and so they was protesting what had happened to him, and so this is why they end up killing Jimmy Lee Jackson. But that's what led to the march from Selma to Montgomery. Also, it led to continuous protests and boycotts and eventually legislation like the Voting Rights Act, which had the pre-clearance in it that the Supreme Court has turned over. I think a bill hung up. But anyway, it led to the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1968, and the dismantling of Jim Crow in the 60s. But Jim Crow has, like Reverend Sharpton said, Jim Crow 2.0 has risen its head now. And that's what we're going to have to watch. And these Supreme Court justices that they are supposed to be justice, but, too many of them are for injustice in this country because they're trying to overturn the 20th century. And everything that we have gained in the last 50 some years is now being overturned through not only through the Supreme Court, but through state legislators who are overturning our right to vote, who are gerrymandering districts, and then through gentrification, we are losing districts. So we have to know what took place in that period of history in Selma, Alabama, because it was so important, and it's still so important that we participate, because the symbolism is still good, but we have to, once we go there to make that pyramid, we have to come back and do something to make sure that our ancestors who perished during that period for us are not in vain. So let's keep voting. Let's keep pushing forward.
Hey, Jerry, can I
go ahead, Bert. Go ahead.
What are you saying is so important? What people don't realize sometimes, Jerry, when after the Civil War, and particularly during the period of Reconstruction, we thought that we had it made, okay?
Right.
And after the Supreme Court made in that Plessy versus Ferguson, I think, decision in 1896, changed things so tremendously for black folks in this country. And that legacy from 1896 stayed until the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. And then in this drug on until we never really got full equality. But what I'm trying to basically what I'm trying to say is that people need to be a student of history. People need to read the history. If we don't think that we can go back in time, and a lot of folks living under the what's that community name? Living under the illusion of inclusion. What's his name? He used to say that all the time. We living under the illusion of inclusion because they never experienced some of the things that we have experienced and our forefathers had experienced. So they can't relate to it. And they don't think it can happen to them, but it can and it will. And I'm beginning to see how how things come in full circle again. And that same Supreme Court changed the trajectory of this whole country back in 1896. And this Supreme Court could do the same thing, okay, if we're not careful.
One of the things that happened even before that was the Dred Scott decision.
Right.
That that wasn't that said there was nothing that we had or could say or do that a white man had to respect.
Right.
And then we were not allowed to go into court and testify against someone that did something against us unless that person was black. So the courts has been our enemy in many instances, except maybe at one period when the governor that was appointed, what was his name? Warren, though.
Which one? What state?
Huh?
You say it's governor. Which state you referring to?
California, I believe. He was Warren. That was on the Warren court. Governor Warren. They appointed him to Supreme Court at the time. He's the one helped bring about the Brown versus the Board of Education, which got a unanimous decision.
Right.
But he was the catalyst behind the Supreme Court. But by the same token, they didn't. It wasn't done right away because he said, we can do it with all deliberate
speed.
Yeah, which
exactly.
didn't happen, which meant nothing really. But it took by the time some so-called integration took place, they had to build all kinds of private schools and turned a lot of schools into private schools and filled in the swimming pools with concrete and dirt and all of that. So it was a whole lot of things that didn't take place during that period.
Well, Jerry, it took about 15 years because that decision was in 1954.
54, right.
And it wasn't total integration for school integration happened to 1970. So with that all deliberate speed, took 15 years. They drug their feet for 15 years almost in order to make that thing happen. And we never really got an equality anyway, like you say, because they took probably taxpayer money and made private schools, and so they were segregated as well. So I don't know, but I'm gonna go back to what you were saying about the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision happened even before the Civil War,
right?
And when after slavery, everything kind of tapped down. Everything kind of came to some kind of the equality that we did have certain rights during the period of Reconstruction. If you read the history of Reconstruction, we had a lot of elected officials and we was doing our thing, and then but that didn't go well with those white Southerners, and they slowly start putting those Jim Crow laws into place. And what made it stick, Jerry, what people don't understand, and what Trump has effectively figured out, when you put those judges in those benches, then they make those decisions stick and stay. And that's what we're doing right now. Even the lower courts and the appellate courts, and now the Supreme Court. You got all these corrupt judges on there, and they can reverse things, and it can and it will reverse things if we're not careful. I'm just so afraid that we're at the brink right now, at the point of no return, because I know hopefully I'm wrong about that, but if we don't do something in particular in this 2024 election to change things, you know, I think black folk gonna find ourselves in a pickle.
Well, when I see what's happening to the Palestinians, that's the frightening part because it can happen here.
Yeah.
And most people don't believe that it can happen, but it can.
Right.
And it is happening in other places. You see what happened to the leader of the one of the leader of the opposition to Russian president Putin.
Yeah.
He ended up dead. Trump argued, and this is what makes people got to come to the grips with this. They were arguing in court. Trump said if he should have immunity, even if he sends SEAL Team 6 out to assassinate somebody like Joe Biden. He also said he should have full immunity to put into prison anybody that decide to run against him if he become president again this time. And people are throwing this off, but there's a lot of social scientists who are saying, they are screaming from the top of their voice, y'all better not vote for this man. But they are not listening. They're not listening to
they're not listening, and they're not listening to history, Jerry, because if it can happen, then it will happen. And then they think he's joking about those things. He's not joking. He's very serious about what he says and what he's doing. And if they can enshrine that stuff into law, if they can have these judges to back them up, we're gonna be in some real serious trouble, panel. If something don't change, and that's why voting is so important. People just take it for granted, but it's so important that we have people in there to represent our interests.
That's right, and the thing about it, Mitch McConnell once stood up for voting rights, and then turned 180 degrees on voting rights. At one time, voting rights would, when it had to be re-upped, it passed like 87 to really a small margin voted against it in the Senate. This time, we don't have no allies. Very few allies in the Senate and in the House right now. Until you got allies in the House that would vote for voting rights, but you got to have enough votes in the Senate to pass so that it can get into the hand of the president. And they're trying to make sure that you don't ever have that again by gerrymandering, and also making sure that small states. See, proportionality to me should be a part of the upcoming in the upcoming years, making sure that a state like Arkansas don't have the same power as a state like, say, California and New York and all these big states that has it should be more than two senators come from states like that. And or they should have one senator coming out of those small states, as far as I'm concerned, because the proportionality is it's atrocious what they are doing.
Hey, Jerry, I know, but I'm just, somebody else want to get in there, because I want to make a point about voting. I'm truly at a loss as to why it is that we have to have a special law to vote and white folks don't. I don't understand that. The same law that was passed for give people the right to vote, it should apply to every citizen in the United States of America. So why do we have to have a special law and have to keep renewing that law for black folks? We're not citizens of the United States. I get lost at that point. I don't understand that. Why we need a special law. The only thing we need to do is enforce the current law.
Right. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, if they are not enforced, and they want you to ignore those amendments. They want you, and I don't understand why, all these lawyers that's out there, are not filing suit on those laws based on that 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, because that was written for Black people. Not to be, our vote should not be abridged. But I don't get it. I don't get it either, that we have to have a special law, but the law was written for us, the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment. So I don't get it.
Remember, Matthew Kincaid told us why we had to have a special law. You recall, he gave us a sequencing of the passing of the legislation, as we know it as the Constitution, Bill of Rights, et cetera, that led to us not being included. We know the answer to that. We're not included in what's defined as citizenship for the United States.
I'm telling you. Jill?
I think we're in trouble if we don't wake up. So I think for those of us that are engaged, we can tell you over and again, you need to vote, you need to vote, you need to vote. You can listen, or you can sit back and do nothing. And those that are sitting back and doing nothing, or sitting back and complaining and not engaging, the world as you know it, the comfort of your own community, your family, the state you live in, and the United States of America could absolutely change in 2024 if we don't register to vote, get educated, make sure that you understand that politics is absolutely local, but it is also on the line this time. So I'd like to tell you that absolutely vote locally, because those appellate judges and the things that are at home, your city council and your school board members, they do directly impact you, but also don't skip the other people that are on your ballot, and make sure that the decision that you're making is not a one issue decision, meaning that if you are pro-choice, which is a democratic thought process, meaning that you believe each individual person has choice, and not that you have to choose one way or the other, or you have to do one or the other. So pro-choice is not for abortion. Pro-choice is for the ability for everybody to have choice. And if you are against that issue, let's just say that you're hard set that against that issue, do not make the mistake of making that your decision to vote for someone like Trump. Because that one issue will be 2,000 times worse if he's in office. And I say that because he's not just going to take away your rights as a female. He's going to take your rights away, LGBTQ+. He's going to take away your rights if you're Black, brown, Asian. He doesn't even really like white people. So, I mean, this is like an all call to everybody. He doesn't like anything that he doesn't choose to like. And if you're in his way, he will absolutely get rid of you. And I would say, think of what happened on January 6th. We know he's behind it. He's admitted he's behind it. And I haven't, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen him at anybody's court case saying, no, it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. I don't see him stepping up saying, hey, you did all that for me, thank you. We did it, we did it, we did it. He's not saying that. He is sitting back comfortable, causing his own troubles, but he's able to get out of his issues and concerns. He doesn't go to jail. But many of the people that followed him, that believed in him, are now in jail, and he's not there for them. So why is it that the general population of the United States of America thinks that he is absolutely going to back you or support you or be there for you? I think it's an all call, and I don't know how else to put it, but that's where we're at.
Right, and another thing happened during the period of the civil rights movement. It helped to end a lot of job discrimination at the time. So a lot of people got jobs that they would never have gotten had it not been for the civil rights movement. A lot of people got housing that they never would have gotten if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. And that's because people fought for those things. Those things didn't come by osmosis. They came because people put their lives on the line for it. If people were beaten constantly, it wasn't just what happened on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but it was happening all over the country, in the southern, especially in the southern states, that people were being brutally beaten. Lynching was taking place still at that time. So, you know, there were many people in the 60s that were killed that names that you don't hear about because they were not the Martin Luther Kings, but they was leaders in their community, and they was either killed or ran out of that particular area. We have Christina on the phone. Okay. Hey, is this Christina?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just first I wanted to say thank you to everybody who made this trip possible. There were people out there to help sponsor a rider and help sponsor the bus. This was not an easy task, and it wouldn't have been possible. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay. Did you want to give us your insight on what happened in Selma, or what was your thought?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So, as always, I'm humbled. I'm humbled by Selma. Every time I go, you know, I'm reminded that the steps we step on, the roads we step on, they're still the same. You know, when President Harris talks about on this hallowed ground, it truly is hallowed ground. We stood today in front of Brown AME Church, and we listened to people who are on that bridge. We listened to people who were beaten. We listened to people who had so much less than so many of us have right now, and just was able to not stop fighting, not let anything step in their way, to be able to step out and say enough is enough. And it's just to put everything on the line, including their lives, their family lives, their livelihood, churches, jobs, everything on the line, because voting is just that important. And to be able to walk across that bridge, to be able to stand there, knowing what happened, it humbles me. And then I take that home, and, you know, Selma is the story that we know. There's so many stories throughout this nation that we don't know where the exact same thing happened. The exact same thing. So I just want to say voting is precious, and do not take it for granted. Vote every election, every time. We need you. We need you. And the fight is real.
It is.
Christina, I have a question for you. Didn't you have a local guest on your bus early this morning giving a speech to those that were on their way? Do you want to share?
Absolutely. So I do want to announce that Gay Valamont, who is running for Congress against Matt Gaetz, she sponsored all the food for our trip. She helped sponsor everything to make this happen. So I just want to say thank you to Gay Valamont. She has been there every step of the way and just been an incredible force. She was with us today. She and her team came out, and I mean, I am just humbled beyond measure. So yes, thank you to Gay Valamont. Thank you to all those who made this happen. And y'all, when it's time to fill out that ballot box, there's a difference between Gay Valamont and Matt Gaetz. There's a huge difference. So don't let for 1 minute think you don't have a choice. You have a choice for somebody who truly cares about us, who understands what we're going through and shows up.
Telling you. And that's great because we definitely need people that's going to show up. But want to say also the historic Brown Chapel also, they are trying to raise funds to repair the church, and it's been damaged for a while. And I went through one area where the tornado went through there. It has not been repaired in certain areas of Selma, and it's a sore up on the, I would say a sore up on the city itself. That scar of all those like about 3 blocks just straight down where that tornado went through there, and has not been repaired. Bill, were you saying something? Oh, that's you. Okay.
No, he wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Well, Christina,
No,
happy birthday.
Jared was so right. The effects from the tornado are still being felt. The effects, there's so many different layers to what is going on. In Selma, it is just, sometimes it's hard to process. But you are absolutely right. There's so many churches that need help, so many people that need help in Selma and across our nation. And you see it. You see the inequity of where the money goes. And that's because of, having Alabama sitting in the same situation we are. They're sitting in a super Republican majority, the Republican governor, with a lot of the same issues that we're facing here.
Exactly. I went by Tappan Baptist Church to hear Garland's, the Attorney General, speak today, and Merrick Garland. And he sounds just like he did on television. And I'm like, you in here in this church with all this energy, where people are, glad to see you be there, but and they singing, they praising God, and their energy is just flowing. And he get up and begin to talk as if he were like on television, and people trying to lean forward to hear him. I'm like, I wanted to scream across the church, pull the mic down or something, put some bass in your voice so we can, you're the Attorney General of the United States. I'm, this is what I'm thinking. I'm sitting there, I'm getting perturbed because I'm like, you got to do better than this. You're dealing with people with a scorched earth policy. You're dealing with people that I know you have read that 2025 plan that if Trump get into office, what they got going. They also talking about a constitutional convention. I know if Trump win, that the House Speaker gonna call for a constitutional convention, and that means they're gonna change every law in the book that's gonna affect Black and brown people and women of every stripe. So, I'm thinking that, you the Attorney General, you the number one law enforcement person in the country, and you're talking as if this thing is not serious. I know what he was saying about voting rights, and I saw the sister that he put in charge of that. She was there also, but you speaking as if this thing is not as serious as it, that we about to go under a dictatorship, and you speaking as if this is just an ordinary election coming up. Like, no, and then I was talking to Latasha Brown and Cliff Albright there. I was sitting down with them talking, and like she was saying, they putting all the pressure on us to save the democracy. You know, when they have the power in their hand, but all of them afraid of this one man with no power. You know, this one man with no power, but they're not willing to sacrifice something to make sure that we save this democracy. And many of them are for dictatorship. But what they fail to realize under dictatorship, most of the time they kill off their intellectual friends because they don't want no challenge. And they kill, you know, look at what Stalin did. All they got to do is go back in history and look at every dictator. And or the guy, Kim killed his own uncle. Yeah. For just disagreeing with him on something. Little Kim
Jong-un. Yeah.
Senior. He killed his own uncle and shot him while he was there.
His daddy did the same thing, Jerry.
Yeah, his daddy did the same thing. This is what dictators do. You know, but Merrick Garland was acting as if it was just another day in the democracy when it's not. You know, that's what was getting me. And I saw the people leaning forward trying to hear what he had to say. I wanted to tell him so bad. And I know it wasn't my place to scream across that church and tell, put some bass in your voice, you know, speak like you have some authority, you know. But that was yeah, right. You know, like you got
to sit.
I'm like, wow, this is too much for me. I went over to where they was having a Brown Chapel service because it was right across the street, and they had a good service. They was talking about voting, but they was talking about raising fund. I bought one of their bought a T-shirt, made some donation to the church fund. Hopefully, it helps some. I know they need a couple $1 million to get this church up and running the way it should be to save this historic church. And this been going on. You know, Vernon, when we were there, the church was closed, and it was closed before that. So
it's still closed, Jerry?
Yeah, it's still closed.
I was hoping that they were going to had it completed by now. No,
they still need funds, and they were asking people from around the country who were there to help them raise funds to save that historic Brown Chapel. It's 4 churches. I think it's one in Montgomery, either two in Montgomery, and one in Birmingham that needs saving. These are historic churches that are in trouble.
You know, Jared, seems to me they the National Park Service should come in and sanction that church as a national place and save it in that and save it that way. There are ways of doing stuff. I don't know what and why, and I don't know whether they don't make it out of a national museum or something like that. Isn't there a way to do that?
They do it for everything else. I mean, why not? It seems to me that they would want to save that church because of the historic significance of it. It seems to me that the governor of Alabama, but then the kind of person she is, they're not going to do anything to help because that the significance of it. They don't want to save the church, not really.
Yeah.
They're going to put it back in your hand.
Well, is Christina still on the phone with you, or is she gone already?
I think we lost it because I think when they travel, they're going through some areas where we lose them.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the infamous room of chairs that she kept trying to tell us that every church had a room full of lawn chairs where people would go in and they put their chairs in this room that we dedicated. I didn't see any of those pictures, so I was looking for the room of chairs. With those
Not just the room. Remember, Derek, it was downstairs.
Downstairs, right? You
Stairs.
go
There's
up
a room of
downstairs, and
chairs.
there's a room of
Everybody
chairs.
drops their chairs
Right.
off, and then they go to church. And we just couldn't understand. You bring all these people bring chairs, and there's a
Right.
room.
There's a
that
room.
you go downstairs and you drop
Yeah.
off chairs.
Yeah. So I was waiting to see the room of chairs.
Yeah, Christina she had her chair now.
Yeah, I know, but she told us that there were that the churches were prepared for this and had a special room of chairs that you went downstairs and you just dropped off your chair, your lawn chair, and you picked it up after church service. You know, so I was looking for the very first picture, which was the room of chairs that I just did not see. So, you know, I wanted to ask about that, but I guess going a little bit of, I think we started on it, but I'm not sure. I'll ask Jill and then Mr. Vernon. Do you have anything that the audience needs to know about, hear about, act on, et cetera, et cetera? So I'll start with you, Jill.
My first thing was going to be to tell Christina happy birthday. Feeling blessed to have her not only as a host, as a best friend, as a warrior in the fight alongside us. Derek's in Escambia, she's in Santa Rosa, I'm in Okaloosa, and you will often find us all together. We've kind of roped Jerry in, and Vernon's always everywhere. So, and Bill also. So it's just been, it's really great just to be here this evening and to be able to celebrate her and each other. And then I would say I'm going to save part of my conversation for when Derek brings up his part of his conversation. And then my other thing would be that you said, is there anything imperative? Again, I'm going to say I probably am the least political. I probably have the most titles, but I am the least political person on this panel and hosting. I am absolutely the least political person. And if I'm asking you to honestly consider, and then not just consider, but then to act. So I like purposeful action. Derek's always saying, is that words? But I was purposeful action. I need you to be purposed in your action. So after you consider everything that you hear and you do your research, that you absolutely must register to vote by mail. And then when it comes time to vote in August and November, that you cast a vote up and down the ballot for whoever you feel is best. And I'm just going to ask for you to think about your family first. And as soon as you finish thinking about your family, because some of us are in a little box, a little square, you have to think about your community. You have to think about how is this going to impact my neighbors, the people down the street, the people in the next community down the road, the school teachers, the kids. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. And this might be the time that everybody that's sitting on their couch controlling your environment, that you step outside of your environment and help us control our freaking country. And we can't do that without you.
I'm telling you, we're gonna need everybody in this fight. This is a struggle for really for your life and for your livelihood. Because if you come fall on the dictatorship, they can come take everything you own, anything they disagree with you on, they can come and put you out of doors, no matter how long you've owned your house. That's what dictators do. Or they can come put you in jail and say you committed some kind of crime. But we see that every day when we saw Putin is a prime example of this. And if we don't think it can happen, this is who Trump has aligned himself with: Putin, Kim Jong-un, and all these other dictators and autocratic governments around the country. If we don't try to save ourselves, and then we're going to be in big trouble in this country. Make no mistake about it. What we're doing now, we will not be able to do. Talk about these issues on a platform like this, they can shut you down and will shut you down. You know,
Jared,
go ahead, Vern.
If people were to think about, if black folk, if they sit down and think about, as bad as we have been treated under a so-called democracy, okay, can you wonder what we'd be treated like in an autocracy?
Right.
People need to think about that for a minute.
At least you have some say so over your life in a democracy. It's nowhere near perfect, but you have some say so. At least you have in that democracy. It says you have a right to speak. You have a right to assemble. You have certain inalienable rights that under a dictatorship you have no rights except what they want you to have. So this is why it's so important that, as Jill was saying, that we get out and vote, that we vote as many times as possible. I'm just joking. Don't go out there and do that.
I know people think there's a lot of hyperbole, but Jared, I agree with you. This is the most serious I ever seen it in my lifetime, and I'm really feel threatened by it because people need to really take it serious. But we'll move on from that. But I'm telling you, I agree with you 100%.
But one of the things you said when Trump first was doing all this stuff, that you didn't realize the guardrails that we thought was up were not there.
Right.
They were just there in our minds, but they were not there in law. They were not codified in law. And so he has circumvented every little nook and cranny that he can and have done. And he has people now that with this Project 25, it's going to be just atrocious what the thing they are recommending in that Project 25. And I suggest that everybody go and read that.
Jerry, the thing that we probably didn't realize in a democracy is that it's voluntary. Okay, as long as everybody agree to it and follow the rules, and then it's okay. But what we didn't realize, like you said, but those rules wasn't codified. It's on a voluntary basis, and until you decided not to follow the rules, then what you going to do about it? Okay, because there's no law to enforce it. Just like case in point. Okay, Supreme Court make a decision, right? If we didn't want to follow this decision, who's going to enforce it?
Right.
The reason it works, a democracy works, because we all, as a majority of the people, agree to the fact that if we agree that the Supreme Court is the last say-so on it, we all going to fall in line in lockstep to do it. But then, if we decided not to do it, that is when the system breaks down. And Trump has figured out that being a crook, you can always figure out the wrong thing. Being a crook, you can always know that not following the rules, and if I dare you, and if I call you bluff, what you're going to do about it, and nothing you can do about it, and then I want to take the next step. He figured that out along the way, that this democracy is an advantage for him, because he knows that a lot of it is not enforceable, because like you said earlier, it's not codified in law. We got to get everything codified in law in order to make it. And then again, if that even at that, Jerry, if they pass a law and we decided not to follow the law, then what good is that law? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, people look like us would never have 91 charges, felony charges against us, would never have been out of jail for possibly rape. He was convicted on that.
Right. Yeah.
He was convicted on it, but he's running for president of the United States. Here a person that did their time, went to prison, do their time, get out, and they still can't vote.
Can't vote. Right. Exactly.
But he can run for president of the United States. Here's a man been convicted in New York of fraud. They found him guilty. They charged, he got to pay out $400 something million, maybe more than that with all the other stuff that's added to it, around $600 million. He's still running for president of the United States. You know, here's a man charged with insurrection. And in the 14th Amendment, it says, you know, you cannot run for office if you've been engaged or you aided and abetted somebody in insurrection. But he's running for president of the United States. And that's why I said what I said about Merrick Garland. He acted like this just another day, you know, at the office. It's not. This is scorched earth policy that they are talking about doing, and they are doing, and they are showing that some rich white guy can get away with murder and argued it in court. That's what people.
Well, you would think that you would think that of all people, Merrick Garland would have taken a stronger stance since he was a victim of the system, of their system. Okay, but maybe that's, you know, God works in mysterious ways. Maybe that's the reason he wasn't on the Supreme Court. If he's as weak as he is as Attorney General, in my opinion, if he would have been on the Supreme Court, well, hey, I don't know.
Right. But you know, and that's why when President Obama was talking about putting him on the Supreme Court, we were screaming it should be a woman, so people have something to rally around. President Obama was kind of naive with that pick, because he let Mitch McConnell tell him, yeah, he already been confirmed on the appellate court, so it should be easy to get him on the Supreme Court. And as soon as President Obama nominated him, and which President Obama should have withdrawn after he found out that he wasn't going to go and put a woman in there immediately after that, because I guess he didn't want to, you know, look weak or something. But that's what I would have done. That's just me, you know.
Jerry, look like you and I dominated the conversation. We got two other guests, and they don't. We need to drag them in here. They need to drag us away from this topic, or we need to drag them into this topic.
I'll turn it back over to Derek.
No, I think it's, for me today, especially, is probably I'm okay with sitting in the background. I guess, you know, one of the things that we'll share, we're going through. I forgot to ask Mr. Vernon. I did ask, but I don't know if you did. Did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Oh no, we never. We out talked you. We never got around to it. But I do want to have something I do want to share. I want folks to recognize that March is Women's History Month, and I think we ought to take the opportunity to highlight Black women history. We got quite a bit of Black women history in this country. That's a lot of unsung history that needs to be sung. Okay, it's women of this country has in my opinion has really been, the backbone, really the backbone of the country. You know, the first Black millionaire in this country was a woman. The first Black billionaire, a female. I'm talking the first female. Well, actually, the first millionaire period in this country was a Black woman. Okay, and I guess Oprah became the second billionaire, because I think Bob Johnson beat her as being the first billionaire in there. But if you look at all of the history, going back to aviation and Betsy Coleman, one of the first women in aviation, and women that actually started sewing the flag, and you go back to history and look at all these. I'm talking about Black women. Black women have served and did so many things that has not been recognized, has not been in the forefront. You know, when I think about women, I think about the song that somebody sung this song. What's the name of it? And I play it all the time on the radio. Lil Milton got a version, but The Wind Beneath Your Wings song. You know that song? Well,
right.
I think that is apropos for women. So sometimes women always in the background. For and there's a lot to be said about for every great man. There's a woman there standing, pushing him, behind him. Instead of she should be beside him, but she's there pushing him, and they always have stepped back and allowed, but just because I think of the way our society is, and let their men shine, but they are the actually are the ones that made it possible, making it possible for them to do that, and a lot of them are unsung, and then I was thinking about. I saw the movie. It just really refreshed in my mind. I saw it last week about Hidden Figures. Okay, women wasn't for that black woman, John Glenn and the space race wouldn't have been the space race. Okay, because of these great black women. The black women that started Mary Bethune Cookman. You know, I can go on and on and on and on and on. And I think March is a time to we can space particularly tribute to black women in history. Since this is Women History Month, let's pay particularly tribute to black women in history. And that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm doing on my station. I'm finding every little piece of document I can find to air about black women and their role in history. That's all I had, Derek.
Jill, go ahead.
Okay. I'm raising my hand like we have a whole panel. I think that is, first of all, fabulous, Vernon. I appreciate that you specifically brought that up. Not because you love women anyway, but I'm just saying because you highlighted, stay there. Because you highlighted, you don't have your partner Bill on here. Let's just stay there. But also that they are the backbone to the party and to people that are actually voting. And so it would be great as we celebrate women that we celebrate our men as well. And you guys can absolutely, I'm saying this, feel this is in the political realm of voting, that you can feel like you guys can step up and step out and catch up and surpass us so that we're all voting. So it's not just the women carrying the party, that it's all of us. And then my second thing, and then I'll let Derek go, is we have 2 new viewers. The first one is Fonda Anita, and she is out of California. She was invited by Chris Tompkins, who's a friend of mine, and he's out of Lee County, and they are loving the show. So I want to give a shout out to them. And then Vernon, if you could share all of the places that people can find this. I told them to call in, so hopefully they will. But even if they don't, they were asking where all of this located, where is everybody viewing from, what's really going on, why hadn't they heard about it? So Fonda, Chris, welcome. Come every Sunday. We're here. But Vernon, if you'll share how they can watch our voices, the People's Media on Sunday.
Okay, our voices is shared on, well, we do it live here every Sunday night on Channel 12 right here in the Pensacola area on Channel 12.1. And we repeat it on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. That's a repeat of this show on television. And you can get those, and anything that we on television is also, you can see it on Roku if you got a Roku account, a Roku television. You just go to Roku and just search for WBQP TV, and it should pop up there. Okay, and also on the Fire Stick platform, you can do the very same thing and get it anywhere around the world. Okay, or you can download the WBQP TV app. We have a live television show on there as well as at the radio station. I got the R&D radio station on the app. I got Real Women radio station. Speaking of women again for this month, Real Women radio stations on the app, and another black station out of Birmingham is on an app, and an affiliate of mine out of Birmingham is on the app. You can see us. You can go to the internet and go to WBQPTV.com. We air it live, 24/7 live on our website there as well. It's on all of the social media platforms. YouTube, you can go. I got a YouTube channel. You can find all of the episodes on the YouTube channel. Uh, Go to Facebook. They're on the Facebook. You can go to Twitch. You can go to Twitter. All of the social media platforms they're on as well. And like I said, if you want to stream it, you can go to Roku, Facebook, Apple, one of those streaming platforms, and you should have any issue finding us. Like I said, if you don't know, just Google WBQPTV.com, and it might give you some hints on how to get us. Okay. And if you go to YouTube, make sure that subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay. If you go there.
Also, they can like me on Facebook or friend me on Facebook.
Yeah.
www.facebook/jerry.mcintosh.18, and you can catch the show because I run it every day, every day once we are off, and also it's New York. I hope there's somebody call it, but anyway, they can do it that way, or they can go to www.macintoshprinciple.com and click on Facebook.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Derek. It's all.
All right. Well, I got a couple of things. So first thing, we've talked about it quite frequently here, but I want to continue to lift it up because it is something of importance here in Escambia County. Right now, there is an initiative going on from electors within the city limits of Pensacola, Florida, to save the demolition or to prohibit the demolition of Malcolm Young Gym. For those of you all who are not aware, we're still fighting to keep that gym up and keep it from being demolished, to replace it by what DC Reeves or Mayor DC Reeves termed as affordable housing, but it's not affordable. It's affordable to people who have $200,000 plus year jobs. That's what affordable housing looks like, as we know it. But we want to make sure that your voice is heard. So we're asking everybody who lives within the city limits of Pensacola, Florida. If you don't know what that looks like, you live in a residential home, you have a black trash can. Those are your city limits. Everybody in the city of Pensacola to sign a petition to save Malcolm Young Gym. Yeah. Now, how you sign the petition is if you go to www.savepensacola.com. Again, that's www.savepensacola.com, and indicate that you would like to sign the petition. Someone from that committee will come to your house. Once you put your information on the website in, someone will come to your house and collect your signature. It is important because they have to collect 4,000 plus signatures within a very short window of time. So I would encourage everybody to do that. And I'm going to turn it over because I know I got a message saying that we have a caller, so I'll turn it over to Mr. McIntosh because I think we have one.
Before you turn it over, I didn't read this. I thought I saw a headline that says that the judge ordered it to be down. Did I not read that correctly? I didn't read the decision. Somebody took it.
I don't think so.
Well, the judge.
I don't know.
He threw out the injunction, I believe.
The restraining order?
To the petition phase of it, I think.
Yeah, they're in their petition phase. I know they're still actively collecting signatures, so I don't think that there's been a final decision one way. So right. Again, go to www.savepensacola.com, fill out the information on the website, and someone will contact you and come to your location to actually get your signature on that petition.
I think what they did, the court did, they just didn't prevent it from being. It's still on schedule. I think somebody challenged the injunction, the injunction of it, but the judge didn't denied that, I guess, and so it's
Right.
still on track to be torn down.
Yeah, which is why it's important for everybody to sign the petition.
Yeah. But you have to live in the city limit.
You have to live within the city limits to do so.
Oh, you on there, caller? Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Jill. This is Chris. I have been enjoying watching the show. This is my first time. Jill invited me. And I come from, New York City down to Florida. I live in Lee County. And, we all have misconceptions about folks down south. And I'm going to say this. I know that the counties that I'm watching here on the TV screen are the more rural areas of Florida. They're not Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville. But I want to say this. Y'all got my heart right now. What you are talking about is resonating highly with me, and it's stirring me up inside. And if you're doing that to me, and I'm an older folks, I know you can get the younger folks. And I hope that this show somehow y'all can start putting it like, I don't know, the Black Caucus can make it go viral, and make it go viral not only in the state of Florida, but across the country. Because what y'all are talking about is letting people know that what is going on in our country is real, and y'all got it. Because there's a lot of people that knows that the ones up there in the higher seats ain't got it yet. That they're still playing some old school politics or whatever. They think it's politics, but our country is in trouble. And so I am so happy to hear what is happening here in the state of Florida is real, that y'all taking this serious, and that we're going to do something, because we got to do something or we're going to lose it all. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you, Chris.
Don't hesitate to call back.
Hey, Jerry,
Thank you, sir.
I have to. He's saying politics, but I heard you say many times it ain't politics, it's politricks.
Yeah. There's a lot of tricking going on with that. Derek,
Yeah. So the second thing is, again, we talk about it, and Christina, I think she announced it last week or maybe a couple of weeks prior to that. But I just want to remind everybody that we have, if you are a Democrat here in this Panhandle region or across the state of Florida, we do have what's called our delegate election coming up. And that is for individuals. As Democrats, we're going to be voting on individuals who have stepped forward to say, hey, they want to represent you as a Democrat within your respective congressional district to cast their vote during the Democratic National Convention in August, I believe it is, to cast their vote for Joe Biden or just be a representative for your congressional district. We have several folks that are running across Congressional District 1, which is Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, and a sliver of Walton County. And I know our very own Christina Forrest has put her name in to run as a delegate. And again, I just want to emphasize, you want to make sure that this is probably one of the elections that people probably don't pay that much attention to, but I want to let you know that it is important to elect the right person that represents you. So, me personally, I wholeheartedly will be casting a vote for Christina Forrest, along with Cassandra McAway as our two female delegates to attend the Democratic National Convention in August. And I'm going to ask each one of you all to do the same too. It's a very easy thing to do. We have elections on April the 20th, and you have two locations that you can vote in. You can vote in Escambia County and also in Okaloosa County. In Escambia County, you can go to Bethel AME Church, which is at 511 Woodland Drive here in Pensacola, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., I believe it is. And you can cast your vote. I'm going to ask Jill, because I don't have it in front of me, I think it's someplace in Niceville, but she can tell you.
It's someplace fabulous. It's where our city council meets. It's where you pay in the same building where you pay your water bill. And that actual address is 208 North Parton Drive. It's in the same area. You have the fire station, the police station, and then you have the city council chambers. To your left is the library, the park. It's right there, 10 to 2, like he said, on April 20th. And I think what Derek says is important. It's an election that you normally probably don't even hear about, that you don't know about, but we're asking you to help us make sure that we get the right people at the convention so that they can make sure that they speak to our issues, that they are put on different committees at times. They obviously have to cast their ballot for Biden, but more important is that they're put on certain committees and they're able to bring our voice, our truth, our collective united truth, not a sliver of the truth of a part of the population. You want somebody who knows, who can represent all people. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for and those two individuals that you said, Christina and Cassandra, we know that they'll do that because they're doing it every day of their life. They're here with us. They're fighting with us. They're listening to your issues. And that is what we want in or at the convention. So we're asking you, please, 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 if we got to come pick you up, we can't vote for you, but we'll pick you up and round you up, take you to the voting location, let you get out of our vehicles, go vote, take you back home and take the next group. We've got 4 hours, whatever it takes. It's literally that important. And it'll give us an opportunity to have a voice and people that we know that will represent us. And so I would just say, thank you, Derek, for bringing that up. Thank you, Christina, Cassandra, for making the sacrifice, because it costs a lot of money. So they're not just going up there to just
Right.
whatever. It's over $3,000. Some people say it's up to $5,000 to go. So it's out of their pocket. There's not a single organization that we have so far that pays for that. This is somebody, 2 individuals that said they're committed to us, to represent us. So the least we can do is get out and vote for them.
And I know I got a question, so I'll answer. There was like, well, is there only just 2 people running? Just so everybody's clear, there for our area, there are 2 men and 2 women who are running. I'm focusing on the females because I know there's a large group of candidates. I'm not sure about the males, nor who they are at this point in time. So I won't speak to those issues, but I do know, from the female contention, that would be where I think you're going to have to focus and make sure, as you said, that you elect the person that represents your interests and your values at heart. And that is where I would go with that. So thank you for allowing me to share that. And my last thing, kind of blend into 2 things. I know Jill's waiting on me to share it. So, I will say for myself, I made it through 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, and 23, all the way fine and safe. And I've been preaching to you guys about making sure that you are safe and protect yourselves from COVID. Well,
Derek,
guess who got
me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Can you sit up so we can see your whole face? Thank you so much, sir. Go ahead.
Guess who got it? A boy right here. I was tested positive for COVID last week. And so now I can talk to you about putting your health forward from a place of experience. I think in the past, I've always spoken, I don't want to say clinically, because I'm not a clinician of any type, but looking at the data, sitting on the COVID task force for COVID-19, being able to talk about it from a number standpoint and what you can do to protect yourself. Let me be clear, I didn't not protect myself. I've still continued to wear my mask. I've still continued to social distance. Have my clue where I think I won't say I was lax, but I was at a speaking engagement. I took my mask off to speak, and now I'm testing myself. So this week I have a newfound respect and fear for COVID. A respect for those of you who have experienced COVID. I promise you I don't ever want to go through this again. I'm not out of the woods. I actually did the positive test on Wednesday. Jill, go ahead.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. Finish what you were saying. Just when you
I
finish.
tested positive on Wednesday, so I was able to just today, finish my last dose of Paxlovid, which was an interesting learning lessons in of itself because it comes in various doses. I thought it was 6 pills of this 3 and 3, and twice a day, and it's not been that. For me, I took 2. I know others took 3. I don't know why I took 2, but I had 2 nonetheless. And so it has been a complete energy zap. I think I am a little bit on the mend. If you see me going on mute, is in trying to cover my faces because I'm having coughing spells. So this is probably the first time in days that I've been upright, or sitting up. So God bless. This one was a tough one, and I don't wish this on anybody, and don't want to go through it again. So even I know going forward, even if I have to speak, you won't hear me speaking through a mask because I don't ever want to do this again. It's too much. Just the walk, I was tired. I'm wondering how the effects of the long-term effects, if any. I'm praying that they will be nil, but enough. So I'll just ask to continue to keep me in your prayers as I maneuver through this journey. But first time, and knock on wood, last time, I don't ever want to go through this again. So I will tell you, I think for me, my saving grace has been the Lord, right? You know that. But more the practical standpoint is that I've been caught up on my boosters. I am vaccinated in 5-time boosting. I'm out of space on front and back of the car, right? So the next one that I have will start a new card for me. If I thought that there was a point in time that we could be a little lax about, COVID or learning to live with it, or okay, maybe you can walk around without a mask, I promise you it's not, because this has been tough. I think my version was probably a milder case because or if it was aggressive, it certainly has been lessened due to the fact that I've been boosted 4 or 5 times now. But this one was a tough one. So thank you. I literally had to learn the art of laying in the bed and sleeping and coughing for the past few days. So this one was a challenging one for me, and I was shocked and surprised. I didn't actually want to believe that I had COVID. Even when the man said, the doctor, I went to the emergency room, as I thought he was going to tell me I had strep or something, because the symptoms didn't present in the fashion that I've been accustomed to reporting on, studying, or understanding. So I would have never guessed that it was COVID. So again, if you are sick and you think you just have a tickle or a flu or strep, go to make sure that you get tested. It's important to make sure that you have at-home tests, because I have about 30 plus tests and could not find one test that was not expired too significantly, and so that's why I ended up going to the emergency room to go ahead and just double check. And again, didn't think it was going to be that, but it is. And so I'll tell you, right now is an opportunity for everybody because you can order your at-home test kits. The government is giving out more of those, so you can go to covidtest.gov and order your 8 at-home test kits. So it's 4 kits, 2 tests per kit, giving you a total of 8. You can do that. It is open for everybody to do so. So this one was a trying one. I will say lesson learned because I knew the lesson beforehand, but I thought like, okay, well, I've spoken 15 other times. I run our DEC meetings without my mask. Thought I was fine, but lesson learned, keep your mask on at all times. Don't go up to microphones unmasked, unless you have your own little microphone covers.
Which I keep telling them, and they don't listen. I'm like, there's covers you have. They're simple, they're easy. You put it on, take it off with you. What I would say, couple statements, and then I'll ask you a question. I did share with everybody, I had COVID in 2020 when it first came out and was really, really, really sick for a very long time. And then got really, really sick in the hospital and literally almost died on Mother's Day. So when I talk about it, it's so passionate because I know that I literally on Mother's Day almost left my children. I hadn't seen them in 6 months. I was in Orlando. They were in Northwest Florida, nice and safe because I knew not to be near them. But I remember them rushing in. I remember everything. And I remember, call my son, call my daughter. That's all the little bit I could say. I just wanted them to know that I love them. But when you talk about COVID and you've experienced it, if you guys have watched our show for the past year plus, you will see, and then watch today's show, you'll see a different way that our co-host Derek has presented it. Because once you've had it, or lost loved ones, it's different than the scientifical, hey, you need to do this and make sure you wash your hands and make sure you do this. Once you've actually had it, you understand how it can impact you, your household, your family, your community. And then I would add 99%, Derek probably wears his mask 95% of the time, only because he gets up on the microphone, he takes his mask off and I don't. And they're like, well, I can project. I will talk louder. I do not want to take my mask off. Often they're like, Jill, take your mask off for a picture. And it's very seldom that I will, and I was just at the doctor's the other day and the lady was like, you're wearing a mask. You're the only one. Are you sick? And I'm like, no, protecting myself from all of you, from everybody else. If I'm, I guess what I would say is COVID is absolutely still here, and everybody, how it impacts you is so different. And like Derek said, the symptoms that they're giving you, you can have completely different symptoms and still have COVID. So I would just share anybody who's sick, if you feel sick, could you just stay home? Like, please. Like, if you got a scratchy throat, you got a runny nose, if you got a little bit of fever, I don't care if it's just an earache. I need you to stay home until you feel better so you can help the rest of us not spread it, because it literally is so highly contagious that the flu, RSV, there's so many things out there right now. Just be mindful of your community. And then, Derek, I know I would ask this if I didn't know you. You wear your mask all the time. I can just see people saying, well, Derek wore his mask all the time. 95% of the time, he's got a mask on and he got COVID. So why should I wear my mask? Because Derek got COVID and he has his on 95% of the time. What would be your answer to that person or to those people who are really thinking that? Like, is it really that important? I'm vaccinated. Do I need the mask? Or I'm not vaccinated? Do I need to get the vaccine? Where are you now that you're sitting where you're sitting?
Yeah, I would say it is paramount, critical, 100% of the case. And I'm going to try to say this without getting emotional. If you don't wear a mask for you, wear a mask for those that we love. Because you never know how your decisions or what you think are good choices or safe choices can impact those who are you just because you think you're accountable for yourself, you also have to be accountable for people that you know, and people that are around you, and people that didn't sign up to do the things that you do, you know. And that's where, for me, I would say, wear a mask for you, wear a mask for those around you, because you can make the determination of whether you want to roll the dice with COVID for yourself. But it is absolutely unfair for you to roll the dice on whether someone else wants to. That's been the struggle, you know, for me, in that sense. You know, and again, I am still, I still consider myself to be, as you said, I practice all COVID protocols and I'm very safe. But, you know, my decisions to speak are my decisions to speak, or my decisions to share, or whatever the case, are my decisions. And it should only impact me. I shouldn't have to impact others. So I will tell you, for you, wear a mask, not only for yourself, but wear it for others who are around you, for those that you are in close proximity to, because you never know what you're passing. Even if you don't find yourself to be symptomatic, you can pass it, and at that point, it's too late. And so you just never know. Yeah.
And so, Derek, I'm going to say, like Vernon said a minute ago, that we better let them get back into the show, because this has probably been too much Jill and Derek on COVID. So we'll pass it over to Jerry and Vernon, and you can either share on COVID or you can bring up something different.
No, it's just that, you know, I know people that have passed from COVID. And I was kind of stunned when you said you almost passed from it, Jill. I didn't know that. Or if you said it before, I guess I didn't hear it like that, you know. But that, you know, that was kind of deep there. Well, I'm so glad that you are here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to talk about it and tell us about it, because I know people that have passed from it. Some of them was relatives of some relatives of mine. Matter of fact, my sister's husband, two of them passed. They were some of the first one passed in Chicago. Two sisters. So, and then there are others that I knew had passed from COVID, and COVID wreaked havoc on the Black community before we really knew what it was all about and what it was doing, because a lot of us had fooled ourselves saying, yeah, it's not affecting Black people. It's a disease. It's not, don't know you from anybody else. It don't discriminate. So, yeah, I'm so happy that you are here to tell us the story, and hopefully people will take heed to that.
And can I just say, because I saw something on social media this weekend while I was laying, just kind of scrolling because I had nothing else to do. There was a guy who talked about, I don't think that COVID conspiracy people irritated me as much as they now do. After I listened to this man, like, he was talking about, he was a Black man, he was talking about, oh yeah, no, the government just is calling it something, but it's nothing but the flu. And I'm like, what? And I found myself on TikTok sending him a message like, you know, you can choose to be uneducated, but, you know, what I would ask respectfully is you not share your uneducated opinion to a platform of where there are millions and billions of people who are watching who could be exposed to thinking you are saying something like, oh, the government's just calling it something. I don't know anything that the flu has ever done where you get the flu and then you come out with AFib, or you get the flu and you come out with long-term side effects. You have memory loss and cognitive decline because of the flu. That's maybe there's a flu that does that, and I'm just not informed about it. But just to liken it to the flu is absolutely asinine. And to hear the people, I used to hear it before, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're done. But like to hear it after experiencing it, like to me, almost delegitimizes the experiences that people have had, the people who have lost people behind COVID, and I'll say even with the doctor, he said, "Look, you got COVID at the right time," and I kind of looked because I thought like, "Have you lost your mind?" But then in thinking about it, I was like, "Oh well, I guess I did because I could have had Omicron, I could have had Delta, I could have had any of those other more serious and fatal." Let me be clear, I don't know what strain I had. I don't even know that I'm interested to know what variant of COVID that I had. All I can tell you is that I'm still here, and I'm fine. I had the COVID that didn't kill me. And that's what I would say at this point in time. So, but to hear these people say the craziness of what they think is completely asinine. It's always people, I hate using this phrase, but when people comment or you can always have an opinion on something, but when you share it on a platform, especially if you have a platform and a following, I hope that you're a little bit more educated and purpose about what you're saying and how you say it, because you can influence a lot of people in the very wrong way. So that's what I would say.
I'll add one last thing, only because you brought it up just now, but I don't know if you guys paid attention, and you might not have, just because when COVID hit, there was so much going on, but they had at least two influential influencers that were one, was a group of people, and they kept saying, COVID's not real, COVID's not real. They threw a COVID party and the COVID guy died. But before he died, he came back and said, COVID is real. But it took them having a COVID party that wasn't real to get all together for him to get to the point that he literally was on his deathbed and left a video of, hey, COVID is real. Don't listen to what we said. We were wrong. I'm about to die. He knew he was going to die. I'm going to die because I was stupid and told you guys all these lies, and I'm so sorry. Hope you forgive me. And then he dies. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the statistics show that between 1.3 and 1.6 million people in America died alone. You remember they were digging mass graves in New York and other places around the country, putting people in mass graves. They had people in trucks. They had bodies stacked in trucks. They had so many, they had to dig mass graves to put people in. And around the world, it was between I think it said 6.8 and 10 million people that died. And only when Joe Biden began to distribute the COVID vaccine did the pace slow down, and it dropped tremendously. But before that, it was rising every day. It was every month. It was between 100,000 people dying every month. And we knew it wasn't the flu, because the flu, of course, it kills a lot of people. But the thing that I noticed during that period, the common cold and the flu, both once people started wearing masks, the common cold and the flu was very, very low. People just didn't get it that tough. because they were protecting themselves from, we were protecting ourselves from each other, which people overseas been doing for years, like in Japan and other places, they wear their masks during the winter months when the flu is at its zenith, and they they protect themselves and protect the others because they care about other people. But you know, we got right now, we got a Surgeon General right here in the state of Florida. It's telling people that they, you know, they have a choice whether they want to send their children to school with measles or not. And everybody know that measles can be, you know, can be uh, extracted through just breathing on somebody, you know, like the virus, you know, or droplets, or put your hand on something. They telling you every day this is what can happen. They had to close schools to just last week or week before last because the virus was that bad in the school system. So, and then you got people like that that's running around the country who care nothing. You can't care anything about people when you're telling people to go out there and accept something like that. And the same thing with what Derek was talking about. And you too, Jill. I saw that guy that said that the virus was real. They had their big COVID party. Not only him, but it was some others. Some of the right wing guys on radio and television, they died because you know COVID wasn't real until they got it, you know, and died from it, you know. And it's a lady, one lady, her child died from COVID, and she said she still was not going to get the vaccine nor wear a mask, but her child died from it. You know? And I'm like, you got to be really out there. But
it's crazy. You know, you have the you know, people bear responsibility. We should all bear the responsibility for our community, you know, and take that responsibility serious to, again, do what you want with yourself. But, you know, when you start, your choices all impact other people. And that's the piece that, you know, you have to always be cognizant, you know, as we move forward. And things we do and we say. That's all I have. Jill, did I answer all the questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
so.
I know.
I know people would ask.
Yeah.
And I can do some COVID scare stuff. Like I walk people through, like, think about it. What's the one thing that we all touch all the time? You never spray it, you never wash your hands after it, and that is your credit card and your money. That is in everybody's hands. If you're talking about how did it spread before, yes, it's on the droplets and stuff, but think about the things that you never think about. Like I give my credit card to you, give it back to me. I give you money, you give it back to me. I put it in my pocket. You get on an airplane. I'm just because we have time. You get on an airplane, you wear your mask, and then you get where you're going, you take your mask off and you touch your clothes and your face, and you've done the same thing. You don't go. I mean, but I remember I have been traumatized to the extent. I used to leave my house, go to the store, come to my house, and literally, as soon as I got in the door, and I lived by myself because I had COVID, I would close that door, take my clothes off, get in the shower. Like, I don't want nobody else's germs. I don't want nobody else's nothing. I would spray down my bags. And I have to give a shout out if it was not. I absolutely know this for sure because I was so scared because you saw everything that was going on in New York. And if you went to the hospital, a lot of people didn't leave the hospital. So I wouldn't go. And I went to, I was going back and forth to this urgent care, back and forth, back and forth. And she finally said, you have to go to the hospital. Like, you got to go. And I was like, I can't go. If I go, I'm going to die. Like, and she said, if you don't go, you're going to die. Because I didn't realize how sick I was. And I went and I really was that sick and they almost sent me home. So the other thing is always be an advocate for yourself because I had this terrible cough. They couldn't figure out my COVID tests were technically negative. And they were going to send me home because they were like, you know, they put me in the whole room where you have only one person you're ever going to see. The lady comes in and she's like, you're never going to see anybody else but me. I'm everything, anything you need, anything you want. It's only me. I'm the only one that's allowed in this room and out of this room. And it was just unreal. And the doctor was like, well, we're just going to send you home. And I'm like, I can't go back home. That lady told me if I go home, I'm going to die. And I had to call the advocate, and the advocate was like, no, she needs to stay. She's still just as sick. I mean, I was really sick. And that next day at 6:23 in the morning is when I almost died. And so had they sent me home, I wouldn't be here. And it was just that decision that, hey, I'm going to be an advocate for myself, because they didn't know. And that's what happened to a lot of people. They were sent back home. If you didn't need the ventilator, they were trying to get you out. And I'm thankful to be here, but I think that we should be mindful, and know that a lot of people lost lives and lost loved ones. And these days, even us talking about it is reminding people and making some people relive, and that is not what we're doing today. So for all of you who did lose loved ones, family members, friends, teachers, doctors, nurses, first responders that died for us, we thank you for your sacrifice, and know that we honestly are doing this just so that everybody else can help keep and continue to keep their families safe. Back to you, Derek. What do we have next?
Oh, we got, I guess, a few more moments left. I'm not sure if there's anything large that we want to get in to, you know, to open up only to close back up. But I just wanted to share something I thought was funny. If you've been following Trump and all his legal woes and all of the money that he has to pay out, guess what? Y'all learn out, y'all find out he ain't got no money. He can't even pay his bail amount. That man has to call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now, because he ain't got a dime to his name. Like, he ain't got enough. Where they needed 100, was it 100 million? And he was like, I ain't got it. Yeah. Well, and so that, to me, that I think those are those people who are MAGA and, oh, Donald's a great businessman and he's the best and he's going to save us because he manages money. He ain't got $100 million. Your boy ain't got $100 million. So y'all still following him? I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised, but I was like, oh wow, I at least thought he had 100. You ain't got 100? Come on now. That's sad. You gonna have to start selling property. You ain't got $100 million. Like, I mean, let me be clear. I don't have.
I was gonna say, you need to clarify, because I was like, so
I
Derek,
mean, it's not like I got $100 million, but I'm not up on TV talking about some. I'm
rich.
I'm rich. I got this, that, the third. I got a Mar-a-Lago and this and that and the third. I ain't got $100 million. That's just not my life, you know. So
Derek,
I was surprised to hear it. What are your thoughts?
You're gonna find out that a lot he doesn't have nothing but a big mouth.
Yeah.
And just talk, but you know, it's not gonna matter to those idiots that following him. You know, when you're into a cult, you don't see reasons. The only way you can see reason when you have to get outside the cup, you have to be on the outside looking in. As long as they're on the inside, they're not going to see that. The world going to find out that Trump is going to go down in the annals of history as the world's biggest con artist. Okay, BT Bonham has nothing on Trump. Okay, telling you right now. So he will go down in annual history as the biggest con artist. Everything he represents is false and fake. Everything he says are lies. But he says and do things that people want to hear and do themselves. And so he's their quote their savior. And they thinking that he represent their values. And what I don't understand is it's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Poor people sending money to support a so-called billionaire, okay? Helping him pay his legal bills, helping him pay everything. They send their hard-earned money to him. And I said, so be it. Let them send it. If they fool enough to prop him up, you know, and sacrifice their own livelihood for food, it's we wonder who really is the food.
Okay. Derek, I want to read this about dictatorship real quick. Say in a dictatorship, one person that is one political figure has the absolute power to control everything in the country without anyone interfering. As a result, a dictatorship consists of someone else choosing what is good for the people, not you. Dictatorship framed the law that governed the rights of people and the economy as well. It also outlined the laws that govern the private property as well. And this is what I was talking about. People can take your property. It's that personal freedom and liberties have to be completely sacrificed in a dictatorship. Telling your opinion is not tolerated in a dictatorship. Dictatorship is efficient in framing new laws to dominate certain sections. The probability of innocent people getting convicted often due to a lack of proper cross-examination in the case of a dictatorship. The accused cannot confront the witness in the case of a dictatorship. However, the time taken to implement a decision is fairly fast in the case of a dictatorship. You know, it's telling you that you have nothing. You have no say-so. Your property is not yours. Nothing is yours in a dictatorship. So this is why it's so important for us to, even though we done saved democracy over and over again, from starting, you know, we were starting way before the Civil War when they pushed what's the name out there to get shot.
First of that, yeah.
First black man. Get out there, you know. And then in the Civil War, in every war ever since then, we fought and won those wars. We the one got the bombers into Germany through the Tuskegee Airmen. We never lost a bomber. We lost airplanes by us sacrificing our lives for the bombers to get there, but we never lost a bomber. You know, in every war we participated in, and then when I watch movies that are made, you don't see no black people in it. That's why I will not watch a war movie. I stopped watching a while back because, you know, when they came out with that Band of Brothers, I said I will never watch nothing like that again.
Jared, the thing about a dictatorship that I fully do not understand, and it's the old theory, what I call that one gun can hold 1,000 people back, okay? And one person can control billions of people. To me, how in the hell is that possible? But it is. And I don't understand the psychology behind it, where people will adhere to whatever one person tells them, you know. And I often think about the people that walked into the gas chamber, and you know, the Jews and so forth walked into the gas chamber, you know, probably with thousands of them, only guarded by a few hundred, a few dozen people, but 1,000 of them willingly walked in because maybe a dozen or two had guns, but thousands could have overpowered those few, but they didn't. And the psychology behind this is just we sheepers, not people, we sheepers, and we just let people lead us into things rather than we thinking for ourselves and demanding that if some action be taken But people won't do that. People won't stand up and protect their own interests. And I don't understand the psychology, and I think part of the psychology is that I don't want to be the one to go. Okay, well, what people don't realize, if a man got a gun, okay, and it's hundreds of us, right? He can only take so many out. Okay, maybe the other people have the possibility of living, but if you comply with it, you sit there and let him shoot all 100 of you. You don't stand a chance anyway. You don't stand a chance of living. Or you only stand a chance if you resist or if you rebelled against it. You know what I'm saying? And so they couldn't have took all of them out. And that's the whole thing. As well as I used to say about slavery in the South. You know, all these majority of the folks on slaves, and only a few slave owners and a few folks there guarding them, and yet we let. But anyway, let me get off this subject.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock.
That is 9 o'clock.
It is.
Yeah, that's all I was
It's
trying
9
to
o'clock.
say.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord, I got to get into my next program, y'all.
Yeah, okay, just want to recommend this book, Talented 10th. It's by Herman Skip Mason Jr. So if you get, I had 3, but we're going to just stop with right there. I know you got to go on to the next program, Bern. But Jill, you want to close it out real quick?
Well, I think we're offline because they're saying, where are you guys? But for everybody that is watching, we thank you so much. We hope to see you next Sunday. Same time, same place. That's 7 o'clock Central Time to 9 o'clock that evening, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And we welcome you to join us. We thank you. And in the meantime, register to vote, vote by mail, and have a safe week. Thank you so much.
Night.
Night.
Good night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.